In this series, we're stepping into each room of the blueprint of family violence against men, a model that maps how abuse works against male victims of family violence. Today, we're still in the master bedroom, the room where psychological manipulation reshapes your sense of self. This particular video focuses on projection, the fourth tactic we explore in this room, and perhaps one of the most disorientating psychological manipulation tactics in the blueprint. Projection is a manipulative tactic where the abuser assigns their own thoughts, behaviors, or flaws to you, not by mistake, but by design. They accuse you of what they're doing, they reverse the roles so that they stay clean while you carry the blame. And the more often it happens, the harder it is to stay grounded in your truth. You start defending yourself against crimes you didn't commit and wondering if you somehow did. It doesn't just distort the relationship, it distorts your sense of self. And that's what makes it so dangerous. For many men, projection lands on values we hold close: integrity, loyalty, honesty, and responsibility. And when someone looks you in the eye and says you're failing at those, it doesn't just trigger frustration, it strikes something deeper. You begin to over explain, over defend, over correct, not because you believe the accusation, but because it undermines the kind of man you believe yourself to be. And eventually you stop asking whether the accusation is fair and start asking whether it's true. Let's step through the three common types of projection. Projection type 1 is direct projection. This is when you're accused of what they're actually doing. No evidence, no context, just certainty. You're told you're cheating while they're deleting messages. You're told you're distant while they've been withdrawn for weeks. You're told you can't be trusted after they've broken every promise. It creates confusion because it hijacks your trust in your own character. It flips your moral compass. You know you've done nothing wrong, but the accusations feel so specific, so targeted, and you start to wonder what you've missed. Men often carry a strong internal drive to protect, to be honest, to hold integrity in relationships. When someone looks you in the eye and says you're betraying those values, it hits a nerve. Not only are you trying to prove your innocence, you're trying to reclaim your own self respect. But the goal isn't truth, it's to keep you defending so they never have to. Projection type 2 is mirror accusations. This is when the behavior exists on both sides, but only yours is acknowledged and only yours is punished. You might raise with them how you don't like being screamed at, and they respond with, "You do that too." And suddenly they are demanding you take full responsibility for any of your yelling whilst ignoring their own. This tactic is disorientating because it feels half right. You do sometimes shut down, you do sometimes lose your temper, but the context is stripped away. Your reactions, which often come after sustained provocation or distress, are isolated and condemned, while theirs are rationalized or erased. It's not denial, it's distortion. They pretend to hold up a mirror so that the same things they do are erased, while yours are held up as proof of your dysfunction. For men who are raised to take responsibility, this tactic lands hard. We're taught to self assess, to steady the ship, to protect those we love. So when someone says, "You're the one who's always escalating things," it strikes a chord, even if the truth is far more complicated. Over time, you stop defending your character and start doubting it. And that's the real cost. Not just blamed unfairly, but forgetting where the blame should have landed in the first place. Projection type 3 is delegated responsibility trap. This is when they project their responsibilities onto you. Something they should be accountable for suddenly becomes your responsibility to solve for. And every fix you try is wrong. And because the problem still exists, it's proof you are a failure. This typically arrives disguised as an ask for help. They might hand you one of their problems, such as the career path they chose long before you came on the scene, or a childhood emotional wound, and frame it as a job for you to solve. And when you do try to help solve it for them, you're chastised and told you are solving it wrong. You're told you don't understand, you're being insensitive, you're trying to control them, and they refuse all your efforts to help. And now, anytime that problem of theirs comes up, the script has shifted. Now the blame is on you. You never helped me when I asked. You gave up on me. You clearly don't understand how to help people. Their unresolved issues now become your burden, and every failed fix becomes proof of your failure, not theirs. This isn't mutual problem solving or a vulnerable request for help. It's a trap, a projection trap, one where things they are responsible for become your fault for not being done. For me, arguments never used to make sense. I'd be trying to speak calmly, carefully, trying to explain how something had made me feel. And she'd rage, she'd yell, she'd bring up 10 unrelated issues. Then, just when I'd finally raised my voice, not to attack, but to hold my ground, she'd cut me off. There you go again, you're always so angry. And I'd freeze, wondering, was I? And the answer was yes, I was angry. But I wasn't the only one. And I wasn't first. I was angry because I had been pushed, provoked, spoken to with contempt and insults. But none of that mattered. My reaction became the headline. Her behavior vanished into the background. She used to complain about her career. She said she made the wrong choice when she was young, felt stuck, unsupported, and directionless. So I tried to help. I mapped out options, I listened, I offered ideas. But every idea was dismissed or met with rage. You don't understand. That's not how my brain works. Stop trying to fix me. You don't know anything. Why are you so bloody useless? So I'd back off. Then I'd be told, you're not trying hard enough. Every problem she had became mine to fix and mine to answer for when it stayed broken. She'd say, you knew I was struggling and you still didn't help me, despite my multiple attempts to help. And trying to explain the full picture only made me look defensive. Eventually, I started to believe it, that I was the problem, that I didn't come up with the best ideas, that I was stupid, that I didn't know how to care for her properly, that I was too reactive or too controlling, and that I was hard to talk to. It's only now, with distance, that I can see the truth. I wasn't innocent, but I wasn't alone in it either. And the story she told, to herself, to me, and to others, left no space for that nuance. Projection doesn't just assign blame, it rewrites the story. Slowly, it steals your clarity until you forget how it began. But here's the truth: you were never the problem. You were being manipulated to believe you were. This is just one of the psychological manipulation tactics defined in the master bedroom as a blueprint of family violence against men. You'll find the full list of tactics across all rooms of the blueprint at standagain.com.au, along with tools to help you name what happened and begin healing from it. And no matter how many times you've been knocked down, you can stand again.